Hello again. Today it's a story about a horse. Now, it's from 1995 or thereabouts. This particular story is on our Buzzsprout site, which is it's a site for audio stories. You know, you can download them and listen to them on anything you like. They're short stories. There's about 200 of them on our Buzzsprout site. Now this one has been at the top of the list for months and months and months. So people have been listening to this, and it's called "We Were Using More of This Drug Than the Local General Hospital." Quite true. It's a big general hospital at Boston called the Pilgrim Hospital, and this particular drug is prednisolone. It's a common sort of thing. It's used for humans and animals for all kinds of ailments, and we were using it for a horse called Big Bonnie. Big Bonnie was a shy horse and came to us early 1990s with Goliath. Goliath, you'll read about Goliath's story. You can actually download Goliath's story from our website. There's a picture storybook. It's really good, all about Goliath's life and the time he spent with us and a bit about his life before he came to us. Full of pictures, and it's ever so interesting. You download it free of charge. So Big Bonnie came to us with Goliath, and we're running this horse centre. It was for horses who had problems with their health, and Goliath came from he used to work at Young's Brewery at Wandsworth, and he came because he had bad health problems after he'd retired, and Young's asked us if we'd take him in. And when we went to collect him from a farm in East Sussex, Kent, on the border near the Bluebell Railway, then this Big Bonnie, who we later found out was called Tide, Big Greyshire, was his mate, and they were bosom buddies. They'd become big pals, and so they both came. The story about their journey back to Lincolnshire, which was an absolute nightmare, took nearly a day, would you believe? Then that's in this picture storybook. So Big Bonnie was living with us, and he'd been working for Whitbread's Brewery most of his life in London, delivering beer, and used to pull the Lord Mayor's coach in the Lord Mayor's parade and things like that. So he had a very interesting life. A really big, heavy shy horse. Not as big as Goliath, but solid. And after a little while, he had difficulty breathing. Well, we worked out that, of course, living in London all his life, then he'd been breathing in street fumes, at sort of nose level all his life, working around the city of London and breathing in traffic fumes all the time. So it wasn't really a surprise that he began to develop problems with his breathing. So we called in Julian, our vet, and who was ever so good with the horses. And he prescribed for a start the thing that humans have, these inhaler things that you puff if you've got asthma and things. I can't remember what the stuff was called. As I'm, because no script on this. Okay, we're not following the script. I'm doing this ad lib. I hope it makes it more interesting. You can listen to the scripted story on Buzzsprout. It's costing him £70 a week. It was a powder, whereas if you've got asthma, you have this inhaler, the squirter thing, and and it makes you feel better instantly. Well, it did him as well. He was better instantly. He could walk about, and the result was amazing. But we couldn't keep paying out £70 a week. At that time, our costs for looking after the horses, doesn't include my mortgage or anything like that. Just looking after the horses cost £125 a day. Food, medication, that kind of thing. Well, another £70 a week was going to be, a bit hefty. So it worked. So Julian had another thought, and he spoke to one or two drug companies, and they said, right, give prednisolone a go. Okay, it's a lot cheaper, could have the same effect. So okay, so we decided to give it a go. So he spoke to the drug company, and he said, well, how much do I give this horse? A horse weighs about a ton. And they said, oh, I think we better try about 360 tablets a day. What? He said. Yeah, 360 tablets a day for a ton, 360 5 milligram tablets a day. Okay, just for a couple of weeks. Get him stabilised, get him, going better, and then, reduce it so that you've got the dose that is right for him. But initially, that's what he'll need. So Julian got hold of me and told me what my amazement was the same. 360 tablets a day. Yeah, so right. Well, I mean, they weren't very expensive. Julian got them, the best possible price from the drug company direct. And so we started giving Bonnie these tablets. Well, can you imagine feeding? It was, supplemented in with his breakfast, as all the horses lived together. They weren't in stables. They lived in a big building divided up by scaffold poles and tree trunks and things, so that they were all could see each other and had companionship, but they couldn't get at each other's food. Well, more or less in pairs. So it was Goliath and Bonnie. So we got Bonnie out to give them this mixture. We were giving them chaff at the time. We made our own chaff. It was chopped oat straw, chopped in our chaff cutter. You can see the chaff cutter on another programme. And then mixed in a cement mixer with, some bran and maybe a few pony nuts and stuff, and molasses. Yes, we got some molasses from a local farmer, and of course that helped to stick things together. In fact, eventually it destroyed the cement mixer, That's another story, but it ate the inside of the cement mixer away over about 2 years. Right, so we started giving Bonnie this chaff with 365 tablets in it. Well, he was spatting all over the place. He was, tablets were flying everywhere. I got him more or less in one spot, so I could sort of sweep a lot up and give them back to him. But I had to cure this. So, we went back to the drug company and said, well, you better persevere. We need to know whether this is going to work for a start. So you'll have to glue them together with something. So we gave him a bit more molasses and made sort of sandwiches and things to get these tablets down him. Anyway, over a week or so, the effect was amazing. He wasn't exactly charging about him. He was an old horse, 18 years old or so, worked all his life, but he was walking about everywhere, whereas previously he couldn't. He couldn't walk more than about 20 yards, and that was it. He was, so it worked. So, all right, we kept going for the second week. And then the drug company said, right, start reducing it. And I think we got down to about 180 tablets over a few days, reducing it gently. And Julian was helping me, of course, we were doing it together. And so we worked out that about 180 tablets a day was what he needed. 180 5 milligram tablets of prednisolone. Doctors give it to humans for all kinds of things. A lot of you will know about it. A lot of you might have had prednisolone. At the same time, we had Sam was on a bit of prednisolone for some reason or other, and we had a Shetland pony permanently on prednisolone as well, but nothing like the same amount. But so we were using around about 200 tablets a day for Big Bonnie, and the drug company eventually agreed to supply it in powder form and worked out for us how much we needed per scoop, what a scoop was in tablets or weight or volume or whatever we needed. 180, did I say, times 5 milligrams, and that's the dose, you see, per day. So that's what we were using, and it worked well. And Bonnie Tide, his proper name was. He was great, had a wonderful life. So it improved his quality of life, which is what it's all about. And that was what we tried to do at Northcote, was give horses a good quality of life and care so that they enjoyed being with us, And poor old Bonnie eventually died. He had a stroke. Now, whether the prednisolone gave him the stroke, I don't know. But one morning I found him down on the ground, and he wasn't very often down because he had bad arthritis as well, so he had difficulty getting up and down. And so I got Golly was there, saying, look, Bonnie's got a problem, he can't get up. Bit distressed, so I got Golly lifter out, and it was his back end that wasn't working, and I got some support under his back end to try and lift him, but it wasn't to be, and eventually he died. He just sort of pegged out. So I covered him up and just left his nose poking out so that Golly could say cheerio. And but during his last months with us, then Big Bonnie had a good quality of life, and that prednisolone worked well. So that's where we found out we were using more than the District General Hospital. Well, it all came about because in the pharmacy we had some friends. Friends supported the horse centre, donations and things, and they had friends there who would try and persuade patients to give us things that they couldn't use anymore. It was if patients were leaving and they'd been prescribed something, not dangerous drugs of course, but something like E45 cream, or what's that stuff, Hibby scrub, and the stuff that you wash if you go into hospital operation and stuff like that, antiseptics and things. Then something we could do with wound dressings and things like that. Then if they'd been prescribed to somebody and they were no longer using it for one reason or another, then the pharmacist sent it to us. So it was either that or throw it away, you see. So once it's prescribed to somebody, you can't give it to somebody else. So it came our way, and that's how we found out, because we would just happen to tell them how much prednisolone we'll be using a day, and they said, oh my goodness gracious, that's far more than we use. And we told them how much it's costing us as well. And it was a lot less than they were paying for their prednisolone for use in the hospital. Mind you, they were using tablets, and by that time we were mainly on powder. So there we are. That's a little story about how we came to be using more of this drug than the local general hospital. Big place. So I hope you found it interesting. A few more tales from Northcote to come from time to time. So don't forget to try and download this book from our website. A link coming up. It's about Cracker, about Goliath storybook. It's in colour pictures. It's a page flipping book. You can download it to any particular device you normally use, and have a look. You'll enjoy it, I'm sure. So until the next time, thank you for being with us, and cheerio.